With the release of Metal Gear Solid Delta, I thought exploring some of Solid Snake's other adventures would make for an amazing idea for an entertaining and topical video. There are just so many amazing games to choose from in a franchise like Metal Gear. The deep characters, the expansive storyline, the balls-to-the-wall action. Every Metal Gear game is so good, it's hard to pick the best one. So in today's video, we'll be checking out what I think is the best Metal Gear game of all time. That's right, we're playing Metal Gear Survive.
You serious?
Nah, I'm just yanking your chain. What we'll be playing is much, much worse. For decades now, intrepid bootleggers have been piggybacking off of franchises that have even the smallest crumb of popularity, like Family Guy to Simpsons, Hydrox to Oreo, or me to all of the other white guys with glasses on the internet talking about video games. There's always somebody trying to leech off the success of the bigger fish in the pond. Because I hate myself, I guess, I love kicking back with a truly terrible video game every now and again. Not something that's just an aggressively mid snooze fest. I'm talking about absolutely horrific games that would make a turd on a plate look like 5-star cuisine.
Here you go, sir, the chef's special. Would you like some cheese?
Yes, sir, please. After hours upon hours of tireless research, and by that I mean scrolling through the Bootleg Games wiki for 30 minutes, I was able to unearth 2 of the most rotten Metal Gear Solid bootlegs that have ever seen the light of day. Thanks to Chinese copyright law being as flimsy as my sexuality when playing as Naked Raiden, literally any 2-bit game dev can take any franchise under the sun and do pretty much whatever they want with it. Maybe I should move to China. I could do all kinds of wacky stuff with all the different video game characters that are out there. But thanks to Nintendo slinging out lawsuits left and right, the best I can do right here in the States is Martin the British Mechanic.
You need me to do a little tinker on your banger there, brub.
One of the most notorious of these bootleg studios was a company known as Glory Sun. Oh god, it feels a little wrong to call them a company when literally their only product is illegal video games. It's like calling a drug dealer a pharmacist or The Rock an actor. Glory Sun produced a number of different bootlegs for the Sega Mega Drive, that's the Genesis for us Americans, from around the late 90s all the way up to the mid 2000s. You might think it sounds absolutely insane that a company was making games for a system that long after its lifespan technically ended, but think about this, Ubisoft released Just Dance 2020 for the Wii. Not the Wii U, the original Wii. There must have been tons of old people busting it down sexual style when that bad boy dropped. So for the first game of the evening, we'll be taking a look at Glory Sun's seminal title, Metal Gear Solid, for the Sega Mega Drive. Unfortunately, almost every game Glory Sun made is in Russian, and my ass barely knows how to speak English. But with the power of Google Translate, I can bastardize whatever story Glory Sun slapped together for this crap fest. At the beginning of the next century, the system of human life appears. The madman wants to conquer the world with this system. I have no idea what this is talking about, but it already sounds like the same kind of subtle insanity Kojima himself would come up with. Our government will find 2 excellent agents to destroy the enemy's factory with a new bomb. Nah, forget all that tactical espionage action. We're just gonna be blowing shit up with bombs. Nah, I mean, come on, this isn't even vaguely Metal Gear related. No Otacon peeing his pants, no Snake and Raiden passionately kissing. No, sure, rip off the stealth game franchise and just have the guys walk right into the front door of the secret evil base. They're literally doing it right in view of the cameras. Wow, you really needed 2 things of C4 to blow apart some 2x4s and barbed wire?
Well, how am I gonna get past this?
Oh yeah, these dudes are absolutely juiced up like crazy. They're so buff they barely even have necks. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, the absolute coolest thing you could play as in a video game was a buff, shirtless Rambo. Bonus points if they were wearing a bandana. As if this wasn't already immediately apparent, the gameplay here is nowhere close to Metal Gear Solid. 90% of the game is spent actively gunning down people, usually with rocket launchers. I guess we did kind of blow up the front door to this secret evil base, so I don't know why I'm expecting to actually be stealthy like this is a real Metal Gear game. The only thing that's even somewhat related is that you can do that thing where you try to be sneaky and squeeze your butt up against the wall. Besides, this is the nut-busting action of gaming in the early 90s. If you're not actively gunning down people with machine guns and beating the crap out of them with your fists, are you even gaming, bro? Jokes aside, for being an extremely pathetic example of a Metal Gear Solid ripoff, this bootleg is actually kind of entertaining. The fact that it's a bootleg isn't even the worst thing about it. It's more so the fact that it's a game from the 90s.
The worst part about your videos is that you think they're entertaining.
Things like the seizure-inducing flashing that happens at the end of every single level. The gameplay is a little wonky at first, but it feels honestly super smooth once you get the hang of it. There's also a good variety of enemies that help mix up the combat even more, like guy with a gun that shoots 1 bullet, or guy with a gun that shoots 2 bullets, or these... I actually can't tell what the hell these things are. Are they dogs or weird hairless apes? Usually when I go back and play retro games like these, because I have Gen Z gamer brain, I often run into moments that make me want to rip my hair and teeth out. But luckily, there were surprisingly few of those in this game. Like enemies popping up on the edge of the screen and shooting me before I was even fully aware that they were standing there, or trying to get my character to walk across these godforsaken platforms. Oh my god, is it that hard to just walk in a straight line? Don't get ahead of yourself and give Glory Sun credit for making a halfway decent game, because if you can believe it, they didn't make any of this. That's right, not only did Glory Sun shamelessly steal the Metal Gear Solid name, they also stole an entirely different game to sell as their own. I know, I'm as shocked as you that Metal Gear Solid on the Sega Mega Drive is not an authentic experience. What this actually is a poorly translated ROM hack of a game called Crackdown that Sega released for arcades back in 1989 before porting it to consoles the following year. In fact, nearly all of Glory Sun's other games are just hacks of already existing titles. Wario Land 3, that's actually a game called Pugsy, a game where you play as an alien butt plug, I guess. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, that one's just Global Gladiators, a game that's based on McDonald's of all things. Look, there's the slime they used to make their nuggets. The only real game that Glory Sun developed themselves was a first-person shooter called Death Caliber that, I will say, is very tastefully based on a certain tragedy that a lot of people don't want to forget about. Do you like bad games, bad jokes, and even worse memes? Then you will love Diz Rush. Here on this channel, we suffered together by playing some of the worst games ever made. Plus, we do streams every Friday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The games we play might be painful, but you're guaranteed to have a good time. Call now at 1-800-244-8487. One easy payment of hitting that subscribe button and smacking the bell, or become a channel member for just $2.99 a month for early video access and a shout out in every video.
Shameless plug over.
Alright, I'll go ahead and say it. That first game was a little disappointing. I was really expecting some stank trash in this video, but that game was actually pretty good. But don't worry, Glory Sun was far from the only company that was cranking out crap like this. Another company called Syntax was arguably one of the most prolific bootleggers of the 90s and the 2000s, with such classics like The Firmament Baby, and you can't forget 2003 Lion King Advance 3. You might think it's despicable that these people would whore out these precious Disney franchises like this, but is that really any different from what Disney is doing with their own IPs these days? Oh god, no! No, stop, please! No, please, no! For the next game on our list, we'll be looking at one of Syntax's original titles. Well, as original as a bootleg can be, I present to you Metal Gear 2 for the Game Boy Color. Oh, my mistake. This isn't a Metal Gear bootleg at all, because that obviously says Metal Gear instead of Metal Gear. Talk about a high quality title screen. Seriously, I genuinely cannot comprehend what the hell is happening here. I think this is supposed to be Snake and Meryl, but it looks like one of those inkblot tests that's just been JPEG'd all to hell. I know the Game Boy was kind of crust city when it came to graphics, but you could get a better looking image than this on that console. Based on what little story Syntax slapped together for this slop, the high-tech weapon of Fry was stolen and the terrorist did it. Oh, thank God it was only one terrorist. I'm sure Snake can handle just one guy. This is solid. Can you hear me, Captain? Yes, very clearly. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. My Colonel impression is ass, dude.
You thought your Snake impression was good?
There are 2 joining points to link every 2 neighbor place together. You will still have to go to a lot of troubles. What is Colonel even saying here? It's like they pieced together his dialogue by dumping out cans of alphabet soup and rearranging the letters. I can endure these immaterial troubles as long as I can bypass climbing those mountains. Furthermore, I lack of sports recently. Oh man, all this military espionage is keeping Snake from enjoying his pastime of playing sports. Maybe the lack of physical activity is why his ass has been nerfed in his recent video game outings. Believe it or not, there actually was an official Metal Gear Solid game on the Game Boy Color, and while I've never really played it myself, I've heard the general consensus is that it's pretty good. So if Konami was able to bring MGS to the Game Boy Color, I'm sure a company as renowned as Syntax will do just as good of a job. Hell, with the state Konami's been in the past few years, they might even do better. Oh, okay, we got a bit of an open world thing going on. I mean, real Metal Gear didn't even do this until Phantom Pain. And to be real for just a second, that game's open world was kind of poop from a butt. The main thing I'm saying here is that this game is already better than Metal Gear Solid 5. Wait a minute, wait. Did they turn Metal Gear Solid into a side-scrolling beat-em-up? Pretty much the complete opposite of what makes Metal Gear Metal Gear. Even the friggin' card game one felt more like Metal Gear than this schlock. Then again, one of the most acclaimed games in the franchise is the one with a bunch of sexy cyborg men fighting in anime sword battles. Raiden was absolutely serving with his tactical combat heals. I guess Metal Gear can kind of be whatever you want it to be. Even so, Syntax could have put a little bit more effort into this game, into making it something more than the video game equivalent of the white stuff that builds up in the corners of old people's mouths.
So still better than 90% of the jokes you write for your videos.
Usually, the best part of a beat-em-up is the fluid combat and being able to string together attacks and do all kinds of flashy combos. You know, things that make the fighting actually fun. But Syntax, in all of their mighty wisdom, decided to take everything that makes beat-em-ups fun and drop a huge diarrhea dump all over it. Most of this game's inherent stinkiness honestly just comes from the fact that it's a fighting game on the Game Boy. There have been so many attempts to bring games like this to the Game Boy, and 90% of them are complete and utter buns, and this game is no exception. You have one singular button for all of your attacks, and the most complex combo you can do is a simple 3-punch chain. And God forbid you go up against a dude with a gun, or else you are 6 ways from Sunday. There aren't even any weapons you can pick up, not even a damn health pack, just you fisting your way through an endless hallway of dudes. Yeah, I probably could have worded that one a little bit better. The one positive thing I can say about this game is that it has a decent selection of characters you can play as other than S Solid, like the equally as badass F Fox, totally not Meryl, and my personal favorite, Master Miller, but he has a goatee drawn on his face. Now don't go and think Syntax put any effort into making these characters functionally unique. In fact, the only difference between them is that some just play worse than the others. I don't know how they managed this, but they made Gray Fox, who is for some reason 7 feet tall, one of the most pathetic and miserable characters I have ever played in a video game. Never mind the fact that he looks like a buff chrome fetus. Why would they take Gray Fox, a superhuman cyborg ninja, and make his only ability in this game to be punch, punch, punch? It's also worth mentioning that his punch is borderline useless. Half the time, it doesn't even feel like I'm hitting the enemies in the first place, and when my attacks do land, it's about as effective as giving them a gentle kiss on the cheek. And of all the enemies that could have given a weapon, they passed him up and gave a knife to Meryl? Oh damn, my bad, this isn't Meryl, this is Mylia. Even though In-game, she calls herself Milieu. Having a bit of an identity crisis, are we? She might be the least worst character to play as, even though that's not saying much. Her attacks are actually halfway decent at juggling enemies, so you're pretty easily able to stun lock them, right up until some dude with a rifle stun locks you over and over and over again. And as an added bonus, the game actually started giving me health packs for some reason when I started playing as her. So I don't know if the game was just bugged before, or if God saw my suffering and decided to give me a little bit of a blessing while I played this trash. Plus, for a split second, I don't know how I did this, but I somehow did a move other than the basic 3-hit combo, and it was awesome. In my entire life, I've only ever seen one person with knife skills this good. Even though Meryl Miley Milieu might not be total scrote to play, my favorite character is still Black Volcano, who again is just Master Miller with a goatee drawn on his face. I don't love him because he's actually fun to play or anything. I mostly love him just from how he looks. At least all the other characters have some vague military or sci-fi aesthetics going on. They literally just put him in some baggy jeans and a tank top. This dude looks like someone that would have stormed the US Capitol on January 6th. Actually, the more I look at him, the more he just looks like someone cosplaying as Julian from Trailer Park Boys. It also says on the character select screen his special ability is H-gun, but he doesn't use anything close to a gun. As always, his only move is punch, punch, punch! The only difference is that his punch is 10 times worse because you have to see him flail his floppy sperm arm with every attack. I hope one day I play enough of these trash games where they stop making me die a little inside, but unfortunately, today is not that day, and I sadly better get used to it. Because if Konami can't get their act together, these might be the best Metal Gear games we get for a long, long time. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and let me know what you thought of the video and these fantastic games down in the comments below. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. Thank you again so much for watching, and a big special thank you to my channel members, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Take care.